Chosen one, hear the cosmic announcement. The maternal deceiver who manipulated your entire existence for financial gain has lost the court case. Her elaborate schemes to control your resources, sabotage your success, and steal your birthright now lie exposed before authorities and community alike. Her carefully constructed facade crumbles as everyone discovers how she forged documents, diverted your inheritance, and orchestrated your struggles, all to maintain control of your money. The universe now reverses this grand theft with perfect precision, returning everything that was stolen, while her reputation disintegrates into cosmic dust. Your power of attorney was manipulated through shadows and lies. Documents appeared before you with strategic highlighting, directing your attention away from the fine print that surrendered your autonomy. They needed you to appear incompetent. They required your failure to justify their control. Every job interview that mysteriously fell through. Every promotion inexplicably denied. Every business venture that encountered unusual obstacles. These were not coincidences or personal shortcomings. These were orchestrated events designed to keep you dependent and doubtful. The network of paid operatives runs deeper than you imagined. The neighbor who always appeared when you had important calls. The friend who suggested career moves that led nowhere. The romantic partner who created chaos before major opportunities. All of them paid. All of them directed. All of them exposed. Their names exist on paper trails. Their payments documented in account statements. Their instructions preserved in messages they thought were deleted. Nothing vanishes in the digital age. Nothing. That property with your name buried in the original documentation, the one they claimed was family-owned or jointly held, is being reassessed by authorities who now see through the labyrinth of legal misdirection. The walls of that house have witnessed your disinheritance. The foundation rests upon your stolen birthright. The keys are being forged for your hand alone as the property records are corrected to reflect truth rather than manipulation. Financial forensic experts have traced the systematic drainage of your accounts with the precision of master archaeologists. They've uncovered layers of deceit, the administrative fees that appeared on statements, the investment opportunities that somehow benefited others, the loans you supposedly agreed to, the gifts you allegedly offered. Each transaction has been flagged, categorized, and attributed to its true orchestrator. The amount stolen from you would shock even the most cynical observer. Watch closely as the community performs its calculated dance of distance. Those who dined on your resources now find the taste turning bitter in their mouths. Those who laughed behind closed doors at your misfortune now worry their names will appear in court documents. Those who witnessed the theft and remained silent now scramble to appear ignorant rather than complicit. Their social media posts about integrity ring hollow. Their sudden absence from events speaks volumes. Their awkward explanations convince no one. The falsified documents exist in multiple jurisdictions, signatures that slither across pages like foreign serpents, bearing no resemblance to your hand, notary stamps from officials who never met you, witnesses whose names belong to no living person. These papers formed the unholy scripture of your bondage, but now serve as evidence against their creators. Each document has been analyzed, flagged, and added to the growing mountain of evidence that will bury your oppressors beneath the weight of their own deception. The defamation campaign against you was executed with military precision, strategic whispers placed in receptive ears, rumors timed for maximum damage to your credibility, questions about your mental stability planted just as you began to question the management of your assets. concerned inquiries about your ability to manage responsibility, all designed to ensure that when you spoke truth, no one would believe you. But now, those same people who doubted you scroll through evidence with widening eyes, realizing they were manipulated into becoming weapons against you. Each conspirator played their assigned role with disturbing competence. The legal expert who found convenient loopholes, the financial advisor who protected your interests while directing funds elsewhere, the healthcare provider who documented concerns about your decision-making abilities, the family friend who always seemed to be present when important matters were discussed. Each of them now sits in separate rooms, speaking to separate investigators, telling separate versions of a story that no longer holds together. Their carefully constructed alliance fractures under pressure. This theft reaches back through generations, woven into family mythology so seamlessly that many accepted it as tradition rather than crime. Great-grandparents, grandparents, parents, each passing down not just genetic material, but methods of manipulation, entitlement to others' resources, and justifications wrapped in familial obligation. You stand at the breaking point of this generational curse. Your refusal to remain silent has caused a rupture in time itself. Future generations will trace their liberation back to this moment, to your courage. The full disclosure approaches with the unstoppable force of a celestial body returning to its natural orbit. Every action taken against you, every dollar diverted, every opportunity sabotaged, every lie told, all of it documented in reports, being finalized at this very moment. The maternal orchestrator paces in sleepless terror, knowing what these revelations will mean: her reputation, her relationships, her self-image, her future, all sacrificed on the altar of greed that she herself built with meticulous care over decades. The power of attorney scheme formed the legal backbone of your exploitation. This document, this unholy scroll, granted control of your affairs to those who claimed to protect your interests, while systematically dismantling your sovereignty. They maintained this control through carefully timed interventions whenever you approached self-sufficiency. Job applications mysteriously rejected. Apartment applications denied due to credit concerns. Relationships sabotaged when partners might have offered stability. All to maintain the narrative that you needed guidance, that you required oversight, that you couldn't possibly manage without their benevolent control. The money trail leads through labyrinthine structures designed to conceal its true path. Accounts opened in obscure institutions, transfers made in amounts just below reporting thresholds, investments channeled through multiple entities before reaching their intended destinations. None of this was random or disorganized. This was financial architecture built specifically to extract your resources while evading detection. The forensic accountants now unraveling this web express professional amazement at its complexity and absolute disgust at its purpose. The surveillance operation monitoring your movements would impress government intelligence agencies. Your phone calls recorded, your messages intercepted, your home periodically searched when you were absent, your mail opened and resealed, your conversations reported by individuals you were led to trust. This network of information gathering served one purpose: to anticipate and neutralize any action you might take toward independence. They knew your plans often before you had fully formed them yourself. But now, these same surveillance methods have created an irrefutable record of organized criminal activity spanning years. Your personal relationships underwent careful screening and sabotage. Potential friends who might have encouraged your autonomy found themselves unwelcome in family gatherings. romantic partners who ask too many questions about your financial situation encountered orchestrated character assassination or convenient misunderstandings. Mentors who recognized your potential received anonymous concerns about your reliability. You were isolated not by chance, but by design, kept separated from any alliance that might have helped you see the truth before now. The maternal figure's terror grows exponentially as the hour of revelation approaches. Her carefully constructed identity as nurturing protector disintegrates, revealing the resource predator beneath. She faces not just legal consequences but complete social death. The community role she cultivated, the respect she demanded, the authority she wielded, all of it evaporates like morning mist under the harsh sun of truth. Her legacy transforms from respected matriarch to cautionary tale in the span of a single verdict. Property that should have passed to you remained mysteriously under family management through a series of conveniently timed legal maneuvers. The house you should have inherited, the land that bore your name in original documents, the valuable assets that somehow never completed their journey to your possession. Each piece of this real estate empire built on diverted birthright has been flagged in property records. The addresses, the parcel numbers, the estimated values, all of it catalogued as evidence of grand-scale theft spanning decades. Alert, code, red chosen one. We're growing fast, building an unstoppable media network they can't erase. But let's not sugarcoat it. The truth is still hidden. It's been twisted. It's been buried under censorship, algorithms, and fear. Yet your heart never stopped recognizing what's real. That's why you're still here. That's why you never tapped out. Because you felt the simulation glitch beneath your feet. You know this world is rigged, and you're done waiting for permission to rise. The obsidian inner order wasn't built for the curious. It was forged for the committed. This is for the full-time chosen, the ones who came to lead, the ones who see beyond the veil and act anyway. Inside, we hold weekly Zoom calls that cut through the noise. We share hidden teachings most were never meant to hear. We train in psychic, warfare, strategy, and spiritual technologies they've kept locked away for centuries. This is the toolkit for the real ones, the ungovernable, the impossible to erase. It's time to remember who you are. The link is in the description. Your real life begins inside. The maternal orchestrator's methods relied on your natural trust and programming to respect authority. She weaponized your childhood conditioning against you. The phrases that stopped questions, because I said so. The guilt that prevented boundaries, after all I've done for you. The shame that silenced objections. Don't air family business in public. These psychological tactics worked alongside the legal and financial machinery to create a perfect prison, one where you furnished your own chains through manipulation rather than force. The timing of interventions in your life reveals a pattern too precise to be coincidental. Major obstacles appeared exactly when independence seemed within reach. Health issues manifested when career advancement loomed. Relationship conflicts erupted before significant financial decisions. Emotional crises emerged before important meetings. This orchestrated chaos served as the undertow, pulling you back whenever you began swimming toward freedom. The correlation between your potential advancements and sudden setbacks now forms a damning timeline in investigative reports. The resources taken from you were not simply hoarded, they were flaunted in your presence as evidence of superior financial acumen. The vacations you couldn't afford, the home renovations beyond your budget, the educational opportunities offered to others while you struggled, the comfortable retirement secured through wise planning, all of it purchased with your diverted resources. then displayed as proof that others managed money better than you ever could. This psychological warfare accompanied the financial abuse, creating a narrative of your inadequacy compared to their prosperity. The maternal figure justified her actions through distorted narratives of protection. You're not ready to handle this responsibility. You would just waste this money. You've always made poor decisions. This is for your own good. These statements, repeated with absolute conviction, served both to convince others of her benevolent intentions and to make you question your own capability. This double manipulation maintained her control while providing social cover for economic abuse that would have otherwise raised community concern. Your intuition warned you repeatedly through uncomfortable physical sensations: the stomach tightness during certain conversations, the throat constriction when trying to ask direct questions, the chest pressure when reviewing financial documents, the headaches that emerged in specific company. Your body recognized the threat before your conscious mind could assemble the fragmented evidence. This physical wisdom you were taught to ignore now stands validated by concrete evidence of the dangers it was trying to alert you to. The network of enablers included institutions that failed their due diligence, banks that accepted questionable documentation, government offices that processed irregular filings, medical professionals who documented concerns without proper evaluation, educational institutions that shared private information without adequate authorization. Each failure of institutional protection has been identified and flagged for administrative review. The systemic weaknesses that allowed your exploitation will face overhaul to prevent similar abuses in future cases. The maternal orchestrator who presented herself as the family's moral authority built her entire ethical framework around a central deception: the religious principles quoted to ensure your compliance, the family values invoked to silence your questions, the tradition and loyalty emphasized to prevent your independence. This moral authority now collapses under the weight of documented exploitation spanning decades. The hypocrisy stands exposed in its staggering magnitude. Prosecution exhibits detail the gap between proclaimed values and documented actions. Medical gaslighting formed a critical component of the control apparatus. Minor health concerns exaggerated to justify intervention. Normal emotional responses pathologized to question your stability. Legitimate physical symptoms dismissed to avoid addressing their stress-related causes. Strategic discussions with healthcare providers painting you as unreliable, ensuring your concerns would be minimized and your reports filtered through pre-established doubt. These medical records have been flagged for review by independent healthcare ethics committees investigating professional misconduct. The surveillance extended into your digital life with disturbing thoroughness. Passwords remembered by browsers on shared computers, email accounts accessed through forgotten logged-in sessions, cloud storage reviewed during your absence, social media monitored through connections you didn't realize served reporting functions, financial apps checked while your phone was left charging. This digital invasion maintained the information advantage necessary to stay ahead of your growing awareness, neutralizing your moves toward independence before they gained momentum. The financial abuse accelerated during key life transitions, after graduation, during career changes, following relationships ending, during relocations. These moments of natural vulnerability and reorganization presented perfect opportunities to implement new control mechanisms or reinforce existing ones. The correlation between these life events and escalations in financial interference creates a clear pattern of opportunistic exploitation now documented in chronological case evidence. Religious and cultural obligations were weaponized with particular effectiveness. Honor thy mother and father, extracted from context and used to demand compliance with exploitation. Cultural expectations regarding family responsibility and respect for elders deployed to silence questions. Spiritual guilt activated to prevent boundary setting. These manipulations of faith and heritage created moral confusion that paralyzed your resistance, making you question whether your desire for autonomy represented spiritual failing rather than healthy self-preservation. The professional consequences of this interference manifested in concrete ways. Performance reviews noting inconsistency during periods of intensified family chaos. Missed opportunities due to emergencies that required your immediate attention. Career trajectories interrupted by manufactured crises that forced geographical relocations or job changes. The correlation between your professional setbacks and documented interference creates a pattern recognized by vocational rehabilitation, experts now involved in calculating compensatory damages. Educational sabotage formed a cornerstone of maintaining control. Discouragement from pursuing degrees that would increase earning potential. Financial support withdrawn during critical academic periods. Study time interrupted by manufactured family emergencies. Documentation disappearing before submission deadlines. These interventions specifically targeted your ability to acquire credentials that would enable financial independence. Academic records are being reviewed alongside interference timelines to establish patterns of educational obstruction. Identity documents required for employment and financial activities mysteriously disappeared or remained safely kept by others. Birth certificates, social security cards, passports, insurance information. These critical papers necessary for establishing independent accounts or securing employment were physically controlled to maintain dependence. The pattern of document withholding has been established through recorded requests and denials, now part of the evidence demonstrating systematic obstruction of independence. Religious communities became unknowing participants in your containment. Leaders provided with concerns about your judgment. Prayer requests that highlighted your struggles while omitting their causes. Counseling sessions guided by predetermined narratives about your instability. Fellowship members encouraged to help by reporting your activities. These spiritual sanctuaries became extensions of surveillance through careful manipulation of well-meaning faith communities. Religious leaders now review their unwitting complicity with shock and institutional self-examination. The financial abuse extended into tax implications with serious consequences. Returns filed without your full knowledge, deductions taken in your name, dependents claimed inappropriately, liabilities assigned to you while benefits flowed elsewhere. The tax documentation under review reveals patterns of strategic financial reporting designed to maximize others' benefits while potentially creating future tax liabilities for you. IRS investigators now examine these filings for evidence of deliberate tax fraud and identity misuse. Your resistance was anticipated and neutralized through prepared counter-narratives, any questioning labeled as paranoia, boundary setting interpreted as disrespect, documentation requests dismissed as mistrust, legal inquiries framed as disloyalty. These preemptive framings ensured that your emerging awareness encountered immediate pathologizing, making it difficult for you to trust your own perceptions as they clarified. This strategic undermining of your reality testing appears in communication records demonstrating conscious intent to disrupt your growing recognition of abuse. The psychological warfare extended to strategic information control. You received carefully curated versions of family history, financial realities, medical information, educational opportunities, legal rights, This selective disclosure created a distorted reality where your acceptance of exploitation seemed reasonable based on the limited information available to you. The gap between what you were told and documented reality forms a map of deliberate deception now available for your review. As the full documentation reaches your hands, you'll experience emotional responses of appropriate magnitude: rage at the years stolen, grief for opportunities lost, vindication that overwhelms capacity for immediate processing. These reactions represent proper alignment with reality rather than excessive response. Allow them their natural expression and progression. They form the emotional counterpart to the legal and financial restoration now unfolding. The maternal deception ends here. The intergenerational pattern of exploitation breaks with you. The inheritance of manipulation stops with this revelation. The legacy of controlled resources transforms into its opposite: radical transparency and appropriate stewardship. What was constructed over decades now disintegrates in weeks, revealing that deception, no matter how elaborate or long-standing, cannot withstand truth's unstoppable emergence when its time has come. The cosmic ledger balances with perfect precision. Justice arrives not on your timeline, but with perfect cosmic timing, when the evidence has accumulated beyond dispute, when witnesses have positioned themselves to speak truth, when systems have prepared to receive revelation, when you have developed capacity to handle the validation without destruction. This divine timing ensures not just temporary relief, but permanent transformation of the underlying patterns that allowed exploitation to flourish. The unraveling continues beyond what eyes can see. The revelation of this exploitation triggers investigations into related matters previously overlooked. Financial audits expand into connected entities. Legal reviews encompass associated documents. Medical ethics inquiries extend to additional cases. The exposure of this particular systematic abuse illuminates similar patterns previously operating undetected. Your individual justice catalyzes systemic correction, extending far beyond your personal situation. Stand firm now in the center of this cosmic recalibration. The documentation moves toward you with unstoppable momentum. The evidence accumulates with mathematical precision. The exposure expands with geometric progression. The justice manifests with divine authority. What was hidden has nowhere left to hide. What was stolen has begun its return journey. What was manipulated straightens into perfect clarity. The mother has lost the case. The terror of exposure grows. The manipulation ends. The restoration begins. Divine justice arrives.